The Academy Award nominations were released recently, and since I lack the ability to come up with new ideas, I'm going to do what I did last year, and review all the nominations for Best Picture. I will be reviewing each movie from my least favorite to my most favorite. Don't worry, there will be no spoilers, and I just want to say that these aren't predictions for what the Academy will choose, because I really have no idea how those people make their decisions.
And the Oscar goes to Green Book.
Anyway, at the very bottom of the bunch, for me at least, is Ford v Ferrari. This movie is a standard biopic about Ken Miles and Carroll Shelby and their struggle to beat Ferrari in the 24 Hours of Le Mans. This movie was pretty standard. I thought that Matt Damon's intro and outro narration about 7,000 RPM was kinda cheesy, and I thought the same thing about Christian Bale's character's whole thing about the perfect lap. It's a pretty forgettable movie with a couple funny moments and decent visuals throughout. 5 out of 10. Next up on my list at number 8 we have Joker. A box office smash, Joker is one of the most talked about movies that came out this year. This movie has some pretty good scenes, and I mean, who doesn't like Joaquin Phoenix? But this movie suffered from 2 related issues that cause it to be this low on my list. The movie treats the audience with no respect and therefore lacks any subtlety whatsoever. How am I supposed to feel about the Joker again?
All I have are negative thoughts.
Oh, that's right, I'm supposed to feel bad for him. There was a reveal that I won't get into because of spoilers, but when it was revealed that this was done very clearly with a single line of dialogue, but since the movie thinks that the audience is stupid, it goes into a flashback and spells it out for us, which really takes you out of the movie. Visually it looked good and the music was pretty nice. This one gets a 6 out of 10. If the placement of my last movie didn't get anybody mad, the placement of my next one will. At number 7, I have The Irishman.
It's over. They're all gone. Frank, it's time. It's time you say what happened.
I heard so many good things about this movie, but when I watched it, I was so disappointed. All the technical aspects of this movie were great. The acting and directing were on point, but I despise this story. The main character does not make a single decision the entire time. This movie is based off a true story, and the only reason this character is the main character is because he was the last person alive to be involved with a certain event. I am not kidding. Every single action he makes that moves the plot forward, he makes because Joe Pesci's character tells him to. And because of this, I spent 3.5 hours watching a character react to things they did, not actually make choices.
For something like this, you're gonna need 2 guns. The one you're gonna use, and a backup.
Also, some of the de-aging effects looked kinda wonky. 6.5 out of 10. At number 6, we have another disappointment. Jojo Rabbit. When I heard that Taika Waititi was making a comedy where he played imaginary Hitler, I must say I was pretty excited. I really enjoyed Thor Ragnarok and I absolutely adore What We Do in the Shadows. When I watched it, I totally got what it was going for, but for whatever reason, both the comedy and the emotional parts didn't really strike a chord in me that I think they were supposed to. It was still a good movie, which I enjoyed, but it just wasn't as good as I had hoped. I have no technical gripes with it, and it's possible I might change my mind after rewatching it. But for right now, this one's just pretty good.
I don't think I can do this.
Was? Of course you can.
I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10. Number 5 is Little Women, a deceptively named movie about regular-sized women going about their life. Look at these women. They're absolutely, completely average in stature. I was unfamiliar with the story that this movie was based off of, but nevertheless, I really enjoyed this movie. All the performances were pretty good. Saoirse Ronan was really great. I also really liked Timothée Chalamet. Greta Gerwig's direction added so much to this film and this story, and I think that she is definitely more deserving of a Best Director nomination than some of the people who actually got it. This movie was gorgeous. The blocking in some scenes was very clearly done in a way reminiscent of art from the time period that the movie was based in, and overall it's just a really pretty movie. The story was very mundane but told with care. showing how many things are important in life, no matter how little. 7.5 out of 10. Marriage Story is my number 4 on this list. It's a movie about a divorce, and it sets itself apart from the other movies with its simplicity. There is no fancy lighting, nor does the camera move in interesting ways, and this lets the audience focus on the important stuff. The development of 2 realistic characters and their ever-changing relationship. These characters are brought to life with the great writing and also the phenomenal acting of both Adam Driver and Scarlett Johansson. I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. Number 3 is Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I liked this movie. It was engaging and interesting and funny. Some people complained about the plot being slow and digressing often, but I found the individual vignettes to be fun and story-serving. But the icing on the cake is the last 15 minutes. Out of all the movies I'd seen on this list, the last 15 minutes of this one ended up getting the loudest reaction from the audience.
A lot of killing.
Anybody order fried sauerkraut?
My number 2 is 1917. This movie is mostly notable for its cinematography. It was shot and edited to look like it was one really long take, which added visual flair, but also served the story. Telling it in real time, from the perspective of the characters, really adds tension. Beyond the lack of cuts, this movie was still flat out gorgeous. Roger Deakins definitely deserves an Oscar for this one. Also, the story was good, it was well paced, and I really empathized with the characters. My only gripe would be the casting. I was fine with Colin Firth and that guy from Bodyguard being in it, even though I recognized them, but when I saw Benedict Cumberbatch, I couldn't really see him as a character just as Benedict Cumberbatch. I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10. At number 1, I have Parasite. This movie is about a lower class family who lies and manipulates to get themselves jobs working for a rich family. Co-written and directed by Bong Joon-ho, this thriller comedy has it all. Beautiful shot, comedic moments, perfect pacing, editing, and writing, with twists, tension, and social commentary to spare. And for a movie that has all of these things, it's still an accessible movie with broad appeal. Sure, it's in Korean, but with some subtitles, you can watch this with your friends and family.
가성이는 완전 예술가 재질인데.
무슨 편지를 그린 거죠?
자화상이에요.
역시.
Anyway, art is subjective and I'm just one person, but I would like to know if anyone agrees or disagrees with me, so if you have anything you want to say, tweet me. For Scott Center, I'm Eoin Cunningham.